President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey making another fiery speech against the U.S. Erdogan's American counterpart has taken a series of measures against Turkey over the continued detention of an American pastor.
It's wrong to try to bring Turkey in line for a pastor. I'm once again calling on those in America. It's a pity that you choose a pastor over your strategic partner in NATO.
Erdogan also called on the U.S. to stop threatening Turkey.
You can never bring this nation in line with the language of threat. We understand the language of law and rights, but not threats.
Turkey has taken the priest into custody on terror charges. U.S. President Donald Trump earlier said he would double steel and aluminum tariffs on Turkey. A professor of economics at London's Kingstone University believes that Erdogan cannot be pushed around, as he is as resolute as his U.S. counterpart.
Erdogan is equally as determined as Trump in a personal sense, and probably less erratic than Trump, but he's not going to be pushed to political compromise unless it has an economic benefit for him at the same time. So I've got a feeling this is going to get worse before it gets better, and it will push Turkey possibly to collaborate with Russia and China.
The tensions between the two sides have sent the Turkish lira to an all-time low. In his speech, Erdogan appealed to Turkish citizens to exchange their dollars and gold into lira to help prop up the Turkish currency.
At its root, what Trump is actually trying to do is to push Turkey out of NATO, to have Turkey abandon any notion, any hopes for joining the European Union.
The U.S. is increasingly using sanctions as a weapon against nations on its blacklist. Turkey is the latest in a long list of countries targeted by Trump's administration for defying the U.S. Iran and Russia are among the nations that have been sanctioned. The U.S. imposed new sanctions on Russia several days ago for the alleged poisoning of a double agent and his daughter in the U.K. It also slapped Iran with sanctions. The accusations against Iran are vague.
Here we have three very powerful players in the region, Iran, Russia, and Turkey, all three of which are having the economic screws tightened on them. And what other effect can this have other than to push these three separate entities together, which I believe is what Trump wants to do?
It's no exaggeration to say the U.S. is engaged in a war with the whole world. Some experts say Trump's confrontational policy is doing lasting damage to what they call the brand of the United States.
Especially with some overheated rhetoric that does, I think, no one any good. And I think that eventually, what harms the United States brand in the short run could in the long run. What you do on trade policy could also be pushing friends away.
The countries that are sanctioned by the U.S. do not sit idly by. They take retaliatory measures. Meanwhile, the U.S. has failed to achieve any of its goals through intimidation. As for Turkey, some analysts believe the U.S. is angry at Ankara because it has expanded its ties with Moscow. Turkey, a NATO ally, has signed a deal with Russia to buy S-400 missiles from the country. The U.S. sees this as a betrayal. It's unlikely Turkey will change its policy under coercion.